With AI search, you essentially ask a question to something like ChatGPT, Gemini, and it will summarize the answer for you, and it will often pull in information from multiple websites at once. And AI search has grown really quickly. We've got hundreds of millions of people now using tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity and Gemini every single week. ChatGPT alone is sitting at over 300 million weekly users. So it's not a niche thing anymore. It's becoming a normal way for people to find information.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the ProfileTree Podcast. I'm joined again today by Jack and Khadija, two of our digital strategists. And today we're actually going to be talking about AI search, ever relevant. We're going to talk a little bit about, firstly, what it is and what exactly it means, but also how to help brands make their website visible in AI search. Looking at different tools and ways to actually make that happen. So I suppose first off, Khadija, would you mind just explaining to us exactly what AI search is and what we mean when we say that?
Yeah, so traditional search engines kind of show you results and you kind of click through the different websites to find what you need. Typically, you'll pick like the first, one of the top 3 or 4 results and on the first page. With AI search, you essentially ask a question to something like ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever it is, and it will summarize the answer for you, and it will often pull in information from multiple websites at once. And AI search has grown really quickly. We've got hundreds of millions of people now using tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity and Gemini every single week. ChatGPT alone is sitting near at over 300 million weekly users. So it's not a niche thing anymore. It's becoming a normal way for people to find information. So essentially, instead of clicking through like 5 different websites, they're often getting one summarized answer right away. So what that means for your website is that it doesn't necessarily need to just rank anymore. It needs to be understood really easily and clearly by these AI bots and also by users as well. Your site needs to be much cleaner and it needs to be much more useful than it used to be, basically.
Mhm. Perfect. And I mean, Jack, I wanted to talk a little bit about, even our own personal habits when it comes to search. Obviously, historically, most people would just use search engines like Google, but say, for example, I wanted to find a business or a specific product or something like that, what would you say that you would typically use? Or would it be AI tools or would it be a bit of a mix of AI tools and search engines?
Yeah, I would say mostly it's AI tools these days. Like I know myself, I was planning a holiday over last Christmas there to Berlin, and me and my girlfriend were just sat looking up kind of places to go, where's nice to eat, stuff like that there, and we're just using AI, even getting it to try and figure out kind of a wee plan and itinerary for stuff like that there is really helpful. Even if I'm kind of looking for maybe a wee night out into Belfast, some nice bars in the area, some nice restaurants in the area, I'm asking ChatGPT what the top 5 are and seeing his opinions and going through and checking which one I like. But yeah, I'd definitely say it's more kind of on the AI search side now of things. And again, like even in just using statistics, like AI search traffic has increased over near 527% year over year, according to SEMrush. So I can only imagine that people are going to start following along and doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, it's back to convenience. And I think, from my experience as well, like the quality of the AI responses compared to where we were even, 6, 12 months ago, because everything pretty much has citations now. You can actually verify the information that's given you. And I also personally love using ChatGPT for travel itineraries. I think it's a really good way, especially if you're going, on a city break for like a short trip. But definitely the exact same kind of logic can be applied to finding whether it be a business or products online. I personally would have used it a lot for, birthday gifts or Christmas gifts or things like that. Because again, the information is tailored to you, it's kind of fitting your budget and your preferences when it comes to things like that. And I suppose we couldn't really talk about AI search without discussing Google's AI features, obviously. The AI overviews, Khadija, what are your thoughts on those? And have you been chatting a lot to clients recently about the kind of impact on that, or even what are your top tips for trying to do your best for ranking those AI overviews?
Yeah, AI overviews, even I find them so helpful. So they're basically now you might have noticed whenever you type something into Google, like a question, or you're asking for like a summary of something, a little box will kind of appear at the top titled AI Overview. And it's a feature in Google search, and it uses AI to provide summarized answers at the top of search results. And it's powered by Gemini, it's powered by their kind of family of models, and it aims to kind of answer those kind of complex questions directly, but using the information from multiple websites. And it will also display links to those websites for further details as well. It's really useful, and it's becoming more and more prominent as well. A lot of people are now clicking into those links that are in the AI summary, as opposed to scrolling down and clicking on the links that are listed out. So it's really important for businesses to tailor their content so that they're picked up easier in that AI kind of overview as well. What that means is, for businesses, is within your content, your website needs to answer like real questions. A lot of sites need read like kind of brochures, but AI is looking for clear answers. If your content directly answers things like pricing, services, or what to expect, it's much more likely to be picked up, because people are asking questions in that way. They want direct answers to really like common questions. So you need to be really specific as well. Generic phrases like high quality service doesn't really help anyone. They definitely don't help AI understand what you do as well. The clearer you are about what you offer and who it's for, where you're based, the better as well. So those two things can really help you get found on search or get found on the AI overview as well. It also matters like how often like you're updating the content as well. If the content on your website is outdated, if there's any mentions of COVID, for example, which some websites still do have mentions of COVID on like their homepage, it's not going to get picked up in the AI overview, because it just screams that this is outdated content. It's not a website that's been updated recently. You also need to make sure that your content is structured correctly. This is things like, clear headings, well-organized sort of sections that make sense, separate pages for services. All of that makes it really easy for both users and also for AI to scan your website and pick up on the key details and on the key questions that people are asking for as well. Everything has to be kind of scannable. So things like adding bullet points, short paragraphs, FAQs, they make a really big difference as well. FAQs is a really big one, and it's something that I am encouraging a lot of clients to add more onto their website, on their home pages, on their service pages. They work really well because they match exactly how people are searching now, which is people are searching in full questions. If someone is asking, how much a certain service costs, or do I need this service to do this, or anything like that, and your page literally answers that, it's much easier for search engines and AI tools to pick that up as well. So having FAQs on your pages, and you can have different FAQs, and you want to have different FAQs on certain pages as well. If you have like a service page, like a dedicated for one of your actual services, you can have FAQs that are related to that specific service and not like a generic or vague one as well. You always want to make sure that it's something that a real customer would ask as well. So FAQs are unstructured content like that is a really good way and really easier way for you to get picked up by search engines and by the AI summary tool as well.
Yeah. I suppose, what we saw a lot was an initial lot of panic for businesses thinking, oh my God, do I have to change everything in terms of my content?
Yeah.
But like as you said, it still is very much a case that people need to continue to write quality, helpful content. That's still the really key part in terms of how the AI tools can actually process the content. But I would say what it means, just to kind of echo what you said, was it's not necessarily the amount of content or the style of content, but it's actually physically the structure of it, like you said. So
Yeah.
it ask and answer a question for the client, which when you think about it, that's actually so much more helpful for the end user anyway. They more than likely do have a question that they want answered, and rather than having to trawl through, reams and reams and reams of content, good to be able to give them that answer early on. Obviously, you want to continue to have enough content there to continue to rank on search engines and help with them AI overviews and AI tools and things like that. But again, make it easy for the user, which is what any website content should do. And I think it's also made more important than ever in terms of additional avenues, like not just focusing on your content on your website. Consider domain authority. Obviously that's going to be built by a number of different ways. Backlinks, I think, are more important than ever. So any opportunities for guest posting that you can do are really, really great. Obviously using your social media channels to link back to your website. Reviews, not even just Google anymore. I think a lot of places are looking at other platforms like Trustpilot, might be that you're selling on Amazon. All those reviews are really, really important, again, to link back to your website and provide credibility and legitimacy. And those are going to be things that help the AI tools to rank you. For example, if you were to type top digital marketing agencies in Belfast into ChatGPT or into Google's AI overview, you might well see ProfileTree. There's so many things that you can do to help support with this. Khadija, obviously the initial panic was, oh my God, I'm not going to get any traffic to my website anymore. What do you think this means? Like, can you foresee a long-term kind of shift to AI search, kind of replacing SEO or effectively replacing SEO?
I don't see it replacing SEO because, well, it's definitely here to stay. AI is just getting kind of better and better, especially in finding ways to make it easier for people to find what they're looking for. But it's not replacing sort of the traditional search. It's just really just changing, I guess, how it works. Because people are still using search engines like Google. Google are now just adding AI into the experience. So instead of just seeing a list of links, you're seeing sort of the answers, summaries, and recommendations. Tools like ChatGPT will, and so Google are adding AI overviews. Tools like ChatGPT add their own kind of search and will pull in links as well whenever you ask it questions. So everything's kind of blending together. It's not so much that one's kind of replacing the other as well. It's all designed to make things easier for the end user. So users are doing kind of less clicking, they're doing less digging to get the direct answer. But they still check websites. Like, people still will check a company's website. They will compare options as well. They'll look for the trust signals. So backlinks and reviews are becoming more and more important because people are looking for trustworthy sources, essentially. So it's still really important to keep on top of your website. It's still really important to keep on top of the SEO factors that help make your website rank higher, but also increases your usability as well. But even if users, don't always click sort of straight away, your content still needs to be strong enough to be used in those AI summary answers as well. So it's not replacing sort of the traditional kind of SEO or the end of search. It's almost like another version of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we learned earlier this year that ChatGPT, for example, and I assume many more will follow, are going to start trialing ads on their platform in the free and basic versions of the platform. How do you think the introduction of ads might impact AI tool users' sort of patterns in terms of how often they're using it, Jack? Like, could you see that potentially leading to like a decrease, like where ads will put people off? Or do you think it's one of those things we'll just get used to?
I think at the start it's definitely going to put people off. Like, I know myself, like, even just to link back to whenever Netflix started to introduce ads, like I wasn't for that, and I stopped my membership, and obviously I've came crawling back with the recent releases. But it's one of them ones. Yeah, I definitely think it's going to get hard for people to get a grasp on and kind of and understand. But I've even seen a few kind of advertisements and commercials for Claude promoting the fact that they're not going to be running ads. So I can see definitely an increase and kind of a shift over the people taking up and starting to use Claude a wee bit more regularly as well, just with them ads. But yeah.
Yeah, true. And I suppose ChatGPT's OpenAI's made some interesting deeds recently, shall we say. So we could see a massive drop in users just on that platform alone. Well, I suppose, based on what we've discussed so far, guys, a lot of it could be about obviously the search intent of the user. So if it is a really basic question or something in relation to a brand or a business, the AI overviews might be really helpful. But if, for example, it is someone that's interested in engaging with a business or a service, or they're looking for specific products, it seems that they will still want to look through to people's websites. So in that sense, it's probably not necessarily going to always impact traffic, Khadija.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed that just because you're getting picked up in the AI summaries that you'll suddenly get this huge influx of traffic as well. But but you want to be as useful as possible to kind of your end user as well. It's still in early days. I think the more that people use AI and use kind of the AI summaries, they're going to want to compare like the different options, and they will start to click into the links as well for more information. But yeah, people don't always sort of click through to the actual website if the answer is kind of already there. But again, it goes back to kind of if someone searches like a basic questions and they get the clear summary straight away, they might not feel the need to click into the link. But people who want more detail will stay, especially if they're further along in like a decision making on like making a product, for example. The more kind of complex action ready, I guess, searches where people are ready to buy or ready to book, those will still impact whether people click into your link or not, because if you're getting found in those people's questions and you're appearing in those kind of summaries, you'll get more likely to get clicks because you're in that summary as well. You might get fewer clicks, but you'll get better intent as well. I would say instead of worrying, especially when you are updating your content, instead of worrying just about traffic, focus on being included in those summaries and providing a deeper value overall in your website as well. At the end of the day, search engines, AI, they all want to make things easier for the end user. And this goes back to even like traditional SEO, all the kind of rules that we have for SEO about using shorter paragraphs, using headings, using like, natural language. It's not just random rules here and there. They're there because this is what search engines deem as content that's easy to read for the end user. So you always want to make sure that your website is as useful to the user as possible, and then the clicks will follow, as you deepen your value on the website as well.
Absolutely. And I suppose it's important to remember too that for business, you may want it to be, but it's not just about conversions and sales.
Yeah.
Even your appearance in AI overviews and AI tool search or prompt results, sorry, is really great for brand awareness. And I suppose people have to remember that you're building a brand up, and in doing so, you're going to build that brand authority and credibility. So it's a good opportunity for brands to start appearing in these AI search options, because you can position yourself as an expert in the industry, really great opportunity with blog content, especially like we've said. A key thing that I would note is that you want to make sure that your blog content kind of makes sense. It's not just random topics that you kind of rank for random keywords. It's kind of content clusters, and start to build, for example, you could do sort of series of blog content rather than just talking about one topic here, one topic there. Make it all make sense and relate it back to what your sort of target market is going to be searching for. Would you say Tanisha, obviously you talked about restructuring content. So for example, if you have your service page content or some blogs that you're going back and you're going to update and kind of optimize for AI search, would you say there's any kind of technical SEO considerations? Because obviously we'll talk to clients a lot about, yes, if you've got old content on there, try not to just delete it all and start again. But is there anything that they'd need to be kind of concerned with when they were going in and saying restructuring and adding in FAQs and bullet pointing and things like that?
I would just say, so a lot of people, especially on websites that have been updated in a long time, or like blog sections that haven't been used, or like or blogs that are really old, for example, a lot of people think that they need to delete any old blogs and just have the old content removed. That's not necessarily the case, and actually that can cause a lot more issues than you'd think, because if you delete any pages or blog posts or products from your website that have once been live, and you don't have what's called a redirect in place, you'll lose any kind of existing traffic, any kind of ranking authority to your website, because that page kind of no longer exists. So we don't recommend to kind of delete pages or delete content unless that content is like severely outdated and like maybe it's talking about a service that you no longer offer and no longer like need to kind of rank for. But I would say whenever you are making, say, for example, updates to all of your key like service pages, for example, you've refreshed all like your service pages, there's more content on it, there's more structure to it, there's more headings, images, things like that. You want to get your site, first of all, connected to Google Search Console. And then within Google Search Console, you can resubmit links individually for indexing. So you're essentially telling Google that you're essentially giving them the link that you have now updated and trying to get them to index it faster. It's up to Google whether or not they will actually do it, but it makes it easier for them to signal to them that you've got new content on your website, or you've got new content on the specific link. You can submit links individually, or you could submit an entire sitemap again. So a sitemap is just essentially a list of links that are on your website. For most common websites like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, you kind of already have that. You just need to go into your domain name / sitemap XML, and you'll see this. It'll look very random, like a list of links on your website, and it'll look a bit kind of code heavy, but that's fine. You just need to take that link and submit it to your Google Search Console. And again, that tells Google exactly like all the pages that you have on your website, and it makes it easier for them to crawl, index, and things like that as well. You don't need to be submitting sitemaps like every single week or anything like that. I would only do it if you have like a major kind of content rollout. There's a bunch of pages that have been updated, and things like that. If you're kind of updating like one page here and there, you can just let Google kind of naturally index that, or you can just submit the link, one at a time. But you do want to make use of Google Search Console and update your sitemap and update and submit any links for indexing as well to try and speed up that process a little bit. But it's not, you don't have to kind of build from scratch. You don't have to delete pages. You're really just updating, things like content structure, the length of content, and creating new pages as well to target more kind of keywords, but also add more content to it, like FAQs for a certain service and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose I would recommend to people, if you are the business, imagine that you are your ideal customer. Sit down, go to an AI tool, and actually put in what you think they might be searching for, and kind of follow the logic to see what it's like for them. Because if it's difficult for you, it's going to be difficult for your customer, and you want to make it as straightforward as possible. So definitely lots of considerations. But obviously we pride ourselves on being an AI first agency. We do offer tons of different strategy and training around it. So please get in touch if you are interested in the project with us. Comment under the podcast if you have any specific questions, and we'll do our best to get back to you. But thanks again for listening and watching this week, guys. We'll see you next week. Let us know if there's anything that you'd like to talk about.